You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Zach. Hi, Adam.
Hello, Zach.
Did you know? Good. Did you know that there are a lot of children at my house most days?
You do
Like
have
a lot.
several. You do have several.
I have
yes.
several. My
Mhm.
wife has been watching some other people's kids, which is great because it gives our daughter a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
But it also means there's a lot of children and children's books.
Cool.
Strewn across my house. And my 2-year-old daughter has, and this is beautiful, gotten to the point where she wants to read everything
Yeah.
with us.
Okay.
So it's sit down and let's read a book. Read me a book.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it does not take long for me as a semi-professional literary critic to have some strong opinions on what children's books are good and what children's books are trash garbage. This is why you will hear me say nice things about the Dogmans of the world out there, or the
Yeah.
fact that I think Cat Cade Comic Club is second in craft only to Understanding Comics, and I do believe that they should be read together.
Yeah. Be a good college tool.
That's not actually a bit, but we're going to keep going. Anyway, what I'm saying is that children's books are a large part of my life, which is a wild thing to say because Adam, you can see. Actually, you can't see because I use this screen for work, so I keep the actual comic books hidden from this angle. But what you can't see around here is all the comic books that you know I have here that are, let's be honest, for children.
Well, that's debatable depending on, the era and who's writing and whatever. But yes,
the characters are for children. We were talking about Spidey and his amazing friends, the Spider-Man show for babies, right before this.
Yes. And I have to say, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. Listeners don't know that, my daughter is a teenager. So we're long ways from the kids book section at the library.
You got to read those teenager books now.
But I will tell you, you can spot the bad ones, when they come your way. Because there are quite a few bad kids books.
Are you talking? Oh yeah, bad kids books. Yes,
yeah. But we're kind of setting this up as like a conversation about kids books. Really, I would say only one of these is really quote unquote for kids this week. We're really talking about
Four Kids was that studio that did English dubs of Japanese anime in the late 90s to early 2000s. They aren't involved here.
No.
Was X-Men was done by Saban, who did Power Rangers also.
Yes. Yeah. I meant for the children, like the
Wu-Tang. Like Wu-Tang. Yes. Got it. We're all aware what's for the children.
But why don't we clue the audience in, because we do have a listener request here from our Patreon, correct?
Wait, our Patreon? Are you talking about the place at www.patreon.com/Battle of the Atom, where all of our listeners can go reach deep down into their hearts and pocketbooks and toss a couple of coins into our coffers so that we can afford children's books to... It's wild. I'm going to say, because Adam Harris, who we thank so much for being a Patreon supporter. But if you want to be like Adam, you can go over to patreon.com, give us the $5, and we'll make an episode fully around a suggestion of your choice, an X-Men comic, preferably not a children's book, because look, there's only so many of those and so many of them that we can't categorize as comics. But whatever you want. And we will turn that into an episode all for you.
And we've done children's book episodes before, and they're hard to do because there's not a lot of content in them. This is
such a shame to say about Avengers Assembly, but go off.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess we do
go off
Avengers Assembly, but anyway,
board book. Just to be clear, I also had to read the board book
Yeah, the
again
board
today
book.
because
Oh, God.
my 2-year-old daughter does associate that book, because we also read the next book that we're going to talk about today. She associates those characters. Oh, that's Daddy's favorite. Because when we read it in my office, I was pointing at all of my art on my walls and being like, that's Wolverine. He's over there, but he's playing basketball. So you're not going to have the context to understand that that's Wolverine. That's Phoenix, though. Why is she in the background? Because, well, there's this guy named Japheth. You don't know him yet, but he'll get there. And then I kept flipping, and then there was a Blob was somewhere. I was like, oh, Blob, he's right there, baby.
Yeah.
He's right there. And then I was like, my X-Men art is honestly very confusing if you are not incredibly deep into X-Men like I am.
Well, the theme of this week is not children's book X-Men, but it is.
No, but it's sprouting from a children's book.
It is. It is times that the X-Men have been drawn as cartoons.
Which is so specific.
It is specific because Adam Harris requested a delightful new title from one of my favorite cartoonists, Mr. Jeffrey Brown. This is X-Men Days of Future Fun.
It's the Uncanny X-Men Days of Future Fun.
Excuse me.
You got to get the title
X-Men
right. X-Men Days
Fun.
of Future Fun is a whole different volume that was started about 30 years later.
I got a chance to, first of all, big fan of Jeffrey Brown.
Jeffrey Brown, who you may know from the Star Wars, I think they're not Jedi Academy.
But Jedi Academy.
No, no, Jedi Academy is a different thing.
No, that's his books. That's his trilogy.
Isn't Jedi Academy with like Han Solo's kids from like Jason Solo? Am I?
I don't believe the main character is a Solo.
No. You and me are talking about one thing, and you're right. Jedi Academy is Jeffrey Brown's middle grade graphic novel series.
Yes.
That is like a Diary of a Wimpy Kid-esque Star Wars thing.
It's pretty great.
I could have sworn Jedi Academy was like, okay, there was a video game that I knew, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, but I might be thinking of something else, because I thought that there was school books with Han Solo's kids from the extended universe or whatever it's called.
They're very well may be, but Jeffrey Brown, you know
Jason Solo.
Yeah, Jason Solo.
What, you didn't think you were going to talk about Darth Cadius on this episode?
Wasn't anticipating it, no. But yeah, I mean, if you don't know Brown from the Jedi Academy books, you might know like the stuff that's closer in tone to what we're going to talk about is his Darth Vader and Son series, which are more of like one panel comics about Darth Vader being a goofy dad.
To close the loop, just because listeners will be mad and we'll jump right back to that. Yeah. I was thinking of the Young Jedi Knights series that was set at the Jedi Academy. And I was also thinking of a different book that I didn't say. Not for a bad reason. It's just it involved Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I knew that was wrong. Anyway, keep going back. Back to Vader and Son, a book I have no context for.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot like Days of Future Fun. It's a lot of one panel things where it's like misunderstandings between Darth Vader as a dad and Princess Leia or Luke running around, and it's fun. I mean, and he's made, I think, at least 5 or 6 of those. So that's obviously been a popular thing. My favorite Jeffrey Brown thing, though, is his 2-volume Transformers parody, which was called The Incredible Change Bots, which if anybody ever gets a chance to read them, I don't remember if they're kid-friendly or not, but they are funny as heck. So check those out. But let's talk about Days of Future Fun. This is basically, like I said, a series of kind of 1 page, 1 panel, or sometimes it's a 2-page spread.
They're
panel.
Newspaper strips. Newspaper strips.
Cartoons of the X-Men. They're not quite X-Babies, but they are kind of young versions of our characters.
They are like 7-year-old X-Men.
Yeah.
Roughly first grade X-Men.
Yeah.
And here's what I appreciate about this, even if I don't I'm gonna compliment sandwich this book pretty hard.
Okay.
First thing I appreciate, it's very clear that Jeffrey Brown made this book from a place of I am a X-Men fan. Very specifically, I am a fan of X-Men comic books.
Oh yeah.
Which is a different thing, and it's not bad if you are like I remember that 1990s cartoon and all this stuff. But Jeffrey Brown has like strong Paul Smith opinions.
Oh yeah.
Like I've never talked to the gentleman. Jeffrey Brown thinks about like Octopusheim on a not irregular basis. Like Jeffrey Brown lives in the pre-Mutant Massacre Claremont moment.
Yeah, I actually did get a chance to meet Jeffrey Brown this past fall at New York Comic Con. I just talked to him in passing for a couple minutes because the book had not come out yet.
Right.
And he was so kind. He gave me a couple of little pins with the little cartoon characters on them. But yeah, I mean, he basically described this as a labor of love. And I think what you're saying is really important for people who want to check this out is who are the X-Men here? Because it is a very specific era of the X-Men that I consider the core X-Men, which is Wolverine, Storm, Rogue, Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and then Phoenix is here as well.
I was going to wait for you to acknowledge that Phoenix is here largely for the fact that Phoenix is such a specter over the Claremont run, but did not interact with this team.
But it also like you
have to
boys versus it also makes boys versus girls even here, right? So you have 8 cast members, 4 guys, 4 gals, and gosh, they're adorable.
They are adorable. Know? All of their costumes are incredibly 1984.
Yes.
With the exception of Shadowcat, who wears her Excalibur costume. Which,
yeah, she's got the Alan Davis costume on.
Look, I mean, it's a good one. It is what I think of when I think of her classic costume.
Yeah. I also appreciate that this is coming from a place of love and also a place of like a sense of humor, because right off the bat in the character introductions, it's, here's who each of the characters are. Cyclops. Scott Summers has laser eyes. And I was like, that's funny because that's going to piss somebody off. And yet
one, all respect to Jay Editon. Scott Summers does have laser eyes.
Sure.
Like there is a school of thought that is correct and legalistic that Scott Summers does not have laser eyes. And I will argue I'm aligned with that school of thought in the appropriate context. I want to be so clear on that. For children book, Scott have laser eyes.
Yes.
You don't need to over-explain. They're laser eyes. How do they work? Shut up.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring up the punch dimension. We're not doing that here. We're going to bring up Krakoa, the island that walks like a man. Another thing I could point to my wall and be like, hey, baby, look, there's Krakoa. She's like, oh, Krakoa. I said, this is going to get political in about 50 years.
Yeah, we do get a 2-page spread with the X-Men flying toward Krakoa and Cyclops telling Wolverine to stow his carry-on bag. These are just, each one of these is a kind of a silly gag. It's Kitty Pryde's putting magnets on Colossus's back.
Classic.
Magneto's the guest instructor and nobody can figure out why. There's
an Nagari demon on one page. That blew my mind. And that's the moment when I was like, oh, because no one cares about the Nagari demons. No one cares about Nagari demons. And yet Jeffrey Brown was like, but you gotta get the Nagari in here, right?
There's an Iceman joke at Iceman's expense because they've just asked him to come over and keep the refrigerator cold until the repairman gets there. I think these are really cute and, the kind of thing that in passing as you flip through it is really, really fun. And, we'll give you some warm and fuzzies. There's a really adorable 2-page spread where the you know, like you said, these characters appear to be, you know, in low elementary school grades,
Mhm.
and yet there is a 2-page spread where they are asked to babysit the New Mutants, who are like little toddlers,
They are
and
actual babies. I
that
found that
is
very funny.
very funny, very
I
funny.
I found that gag to be good. Now,
Yes.
other piece of the compliment sandwich, the middle part of the compliment sandwich. I
Mhm.
talked about reading children's books
Yeah.
a lot. I do believe that Jeffrey Brown is a talented cartoonist in doing great gags. I believe packaged in this document that I hold in my hand here, it is not a very good children's book to read
Mm.
because there is not a narrative. There is a reset every page, and that is a different thing when you're sitting down for reading time than the Very Hungry Caterpillar. You know, like it is. There is
This is interesting because it's like you're presenting a user experience here.
yes,
And
that's my entire thing here, and that's
Yeah,
why I wanted to get the actual book, Adam.
It's funny that you bring this up though, because I remember, you know, reading Jeffrey Brown Star Wars stuff with my daughter when she was little, and I remember it being an interesting thing too when we were reading the Star Wars and Darth Vader and his kids books, because
Mhm.
it's the same format. You're reading little 1-page gags, and you know when you're a parent and you're reading to your kid, a lot of times you're thinking a little bit about, well, how much of this are we going to read? You know, are we going to read the whole thing? Are we going to read like 10 pages? And inevitably your kid is going to be like, one more, you know?
Yeah, like
And
there's a negotiation you do have to have with a child during reading time.
yeah, I honestly, I think it does ask the question, like, who is this for? Because you could make an argument that it is actually a kind of a fun introduction to these characters for kids, because I think it can do that. But I also think that it is more than likely geared more towards folks like us
Yeah, it is.
are getting some of the, you know, deeper lore jokes that are in here.
My daughter enjoyed this book. I believe she enjoyed it more because she could tell that I liked this book.
Okay.
I really, that is nothing on Jeffrey Brown, who I think is very talented, but it is a complicated like way to approach this, because I would not go out of my way to buy this for
Mhm.
my child, and
Yeah.
I would not go out of my way to buy this for the me, which is nothing against Jeffrey Brown. It's just like, oh, it's a children's thing, and I'm not gonna. Contrary to all the other evidence, I don't read too many children's books outside of my friends, the X-Men. I read Ulysses, which is not a bit. I'm reading Ulysses right now. Hey, James Joyce both loves and hates the English language in equal measure.
Sure does. God, you know, you don't have to read Ulysses.
I'm in a book club now. Me and Chris and Rob wanted to read something. We've gone from being
I saw
X-Men,
Chris was reading it too, so
we've gone from being X-Men people to reading dusty old books.
that's great.
It's
Love this.
It's so beautiful. Ulysses was a choice though.
In terms of getting a physical copy of this, I was actually a little bit disappointed because my local bookstore didn't have a copy of it. So I ended up getting the ebook. I do think I might want to get a copy of this for myself, because I am a fan of Jeffrey Brown. I like his work, and I got a kick out of this. I will say
it's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. Not all the gags land. Some of them aren't as funny as the others, but the ones that do land, you know, like there's a great one with like Wolverine. He's all kind of beat up. He's like, "Stay out of my head, Prof. You too, Gene. You don't want to see what I'm thinking about right now." And then it's Wolverine riding a unicorn past a rainbow. I mean, that's funny.
Do you know what's weird, Adam?
Yeah.
That is in contention for my least favorite page of this.
Oh, interesting.
It's the kind of like super broad humor that I don't particularly go for. My wife likes to say that I like things that aren't funny. So
So
like,
what was your favorite gag from this? Was it the Nagari hiding under the stairs?
I don't know. Look, I don't know if this is even a good gag because I think the joke on the page is kind of off. But when I got the page turn and I saw a double page spread of Krakoa, the island that walks like a man, I did have to stop for a second.
It's pretty good.
That one got me, but
The
that's
double
just
page of the kids just basically messing up arcade, but it's an actual arcade. That was fun.
That's good. I like the silent gag of Jean painting Wolverine's nails.
Oh yeah.
Or his claws. Like because of the way that it is framed, it is, a lesser creator would make a joke about how Wolverine is upset about this or how it's girly or anything like that. And no one would really bat an eye about it. But what Jeffrey Brown taps into in that is the very real thing of, like, sometimes kids are like, oh, I also want my nails to be painted. And masculinity in society would normally frown upon that. However, kids don't care. And like, that is a real, like, oh, this guy's a parent kind of thing,
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that's a real one's no. And I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I do like about this book. That's the thing. I don't want to be super negative on it. I just don't know. I don't know if I was ready to meet it where it was. Mm-hmm. And I tried to meet it from a couple of different angles. And I can't figure out where it's at. That's the thing. I don't know where to meet it at.
My only other complaint, and it's just a minor one because, I'm sure it's designed to be the length that it is because it is marketed to kids. I did think it was a little short. I wanted like at least another like 10 or 12 gags, and it ends at about page 60. So I was like, I would just like just a little bit more. That's selfish.
Here's the thing. This is sized like, I don't even know what those kind of books were. You know what I'm talking about? Like, there was a while where there were little, very graphic, like, fun fact books, or like, here is a joke about a pop culture thing twisted up as a real book that you would give to somebody as a gift.
Yeah.
For like they were gift books is what they were, because they weren't quote unquote real books, but it's like that format,
Yes. Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think maybe that's where it's supposed to meet you at. It's like, you're supposed to get it from someone, laugh about it, because it's a adult-y X-Men kids book without adult themes, but like, it's not blatantly for kids. Like, I think maybe that's where it's at, and I don't know. It's interesting.
It is a great present if you were gonna like find something fun for an X fan
that they probably don't have, and that they will get a kick out of.
Exactly. So definitely recommend it, but let's see if we can plunk it on the big old list here, Zach.
That's the thing. We have been ranking every X-Men story, and this proves yet again that we do mean every X-Men story.
We sure do.
From best to worst, with number one being the House of X Powers of 10, the 275th best being Uncanny X-Men Volume 3, 8 through 11 Broken, 255 being Uncanny X-Men 326. We talked about that last week. I forgot what that one is immediately. New Mutants Volume 3, number 5 is at 825. Don't know what that one is either.
That's the one with the really bad art. Remember?
How is that at 825? Man, that art's so bad. Obnoxia the Clown versus X-Men is at 1,100, and 2099 Word of Tomorrow is the worst X-Men comic of all time. Days of Future Fun is pretty good.
It is. It doesn't rise to, I think when we covered Marvel Avengers Assembly number 3, that still remains to me one of the best introductions to the X-Men that you could possibly find for kids.
Agreed.
And that's in 223. I don't think this is that good.
I fully agree. I think like at 300 we have 'Twas the Night Before, which is the Outback era Christmas issue. And then we've got like the Rogue and Bishop and Shatterstar minis. Those are all better than this. So what's 400 is Ultimate Comics Reservation X.
Yeah, right above that, we've got Big Brood Trouble in the Big Easy, and above that is the first 2 issues of Spider-Man and the X-Men, where Sauron tries to turn everybody into dinosaurs. Is this better or worse than that stuff? You know what? This is not
Speaking,
better than Wolverine Death Blow.
yeah, the Eisner winning Wolverine Death Blow.
394.
Speaking of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, season 4 of Spider-Man and his amazing friends do have a bunch of dinosaur related content, and I
Nice.
have not watched enough to know if Sauron and Stegron show up, because that would tell me that they are real ones too. Right now I'm on the fence. I
sure
don't
hope
believe
so.
they're real ones, but like, if he doesn't want to cure cancer, he wants to turn people into dinosaurs. It's so funny to me. I'm going to say this does not break 400. This goes below Generations, Phoenix and Jean Grey. It's probably, is this better or worse than the Max Wittert, Gene and Scott strips?
And what's that at?
412.
I'm gonna give it to Max Wittert. I think those are sharper.
I do.
There's
too.
less of them, but it's more pointed, and I like that humor. Though, I still think we're in the 400s.
I think we're pretty darn close, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something crazy.
Okay.
This is better than Legion Quest, and I'm gonna say this is better than Old Man Logan.
I would put it above Old Man Logan, but below the cocaine arc of Wolverine.
With the sentient cocaine. Kieran Gillen in Eternals could have used that sentient cocaine
Sure
and
could've.
didn't. I've interviewed Kieran Gillen more than once since that run was done. I should have thought to bring that up, Adam.
There's always tomorrow. So that
Well,
makes,
here comes tomorrow, buddy.
yeah, that makes Days of Future Fun 433. And we have 2 other examples this episode of times that the X-Men were portrayed as cartoon characters. This second one comes from the 90s parody series from Marvel. Not What If, but What the...
Why aren't comic books funny? It's just like
It's hard. It's hard to be funny.
Is it? They're called comics because they were comical. They were funny. They started as funny. The first thing people thought to do with this was to be funny. So why is it hard?
Here's the thing. What the is very, very hit or miss. I do think that some of the gags in What the and the other, there was a real attempt, let's say, in the 80s into the early 90s for Marvel to continue kind of a slapstick comical idea of like, we're not taking ourselves too seriously, right? So you have publications like you have the annuals, what year in review that were coming out for 4 or 5 years straight, that were filled with gags. You've got the swimsuit specials, which have a certain kind of tongue-in-cheek attitude about them. What the is very much trying to pick up on where other past Marvel parody books left off, except tackling the late 80s into the 90s and where we're at with our stories. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's not. I think what's interesting about What the is how many current of that moment creators were involved. Like,
That's
What the
thing.
number 3 has a Batman joke, 2-page joke from Todd McFarlane in it.
Hey,
Like-
here's the thing. When I was looking at that, I was like, man, that art's pretty good. What's going on with that? And then I saw the actual Batman, and it was the Todd, notorious baseball fan, the Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
And I absolutely lost it. Here's the thing. It tells me that at that debate, writer Peter David and penciler Todd McFarlane, who co-created this, they could have chosen to add more joy like this into the world. And instead, Todd McFarlane chose to add more joy into this world by showing up shirtless. Gosh, I love that guy so much. Like, I'm going to take that back. I love the idea of the Todd. I don't know him well enough. He didn't respond when I said hi to him in person one time. To be fair, he was in a hotel lobby. I was walking by and said, "Sup, the Todd?"
Sup the Tide.
Chris and Rob are also there for that.
Love it.
We get a lot of Chris and Rob content on this podcast today.
They're good friends, you know. I mean, we're only covering issues 3 and 4, but my original pick was actually issue 5, which has a Wolverine Punisher parody in it, but also features artwork from Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Larry Stroman, and Will Sportaccio. So there was a lot of current creators working on issues of this book. I think when it hits, it's kind of funny. Most of the time, these are duds.
Most of the time, these are duds and bad. The one we're specifically talking about, like the centerpiece, the reason why we've picked these two is Mutant Beach Party, which is a 2-parter in number 3 and 4, written by Kurt Busiek with art by Kyle Baker. And like that's another. Busiek wasn't there yet, but he's Kurt Busiek. Like he gets there pretty darn quick. And Kyle Baker, deeply underrated. Like those who know, but like I don't think Kyle Baker has ever gotten Kyle Baker hasn't gotten his flowers, you know?
Kyle Baker is an incredibly talented artist, and one of the things that he was doing in this time period was little one-panel X-Men jokes that would appear in Marvel Age. And I think they're capitalizing on that here with this 2-issue thing, Mutant Beach Party, which kind of is a story, but also is just an opportunity for Kurt and Kyle to kind of just do a bunch of gags that are making fun of X-Men as both a characters, a storytelling enterprise, and, you know, it is similarly, you know, hit or miss even within this as to which ones of these jokes work and which doesn't. I do think it's a little bit weighed down by the fact that all of the What The stories have to give some goofy parody name to each of the characters.
It's the worst thing. It's the worst, most annoying thing and the most cowardly thing about these books is that it is cowardly that they are afraid to make fun of X-Men and call it X-Men. They have to be like, oh, this isn't X Factor. This is the Muty used to be's, and these are the Muty wannabes. And it sucks, and I hate that. Like they come up with stupid names and all the proper nouns are wrong. And like the jokes would be funnier if my brain wasn't stopping at everything and saying, that's not right. Because here's the thing. This just looks like Kyle Baker drawing X-Men.
That's the thing. They are quote unquote parodies, but they really are just cartoons of the actual X-Men. So when you see Warlock and they call him Orlock for no reason, it's still just Warlock.
It's not funny that you have also seen Nosferatu, guys.
There are little subtle visual gags throughout this, like Wolverine being buried in a pile of beer cans. A lot of these are kind of close-ups of characters, and then weird stuff is happening off to the sides. And
Kyle Baker's good at gags. He is good at gags.
Yeah, and I don't know. I did get a kick out of this because I guess the overarching idea here is that all of X-Men's worst villains are coming to kill them, in a kind of send-up of the Mutant Massacre. And it's still a mystery as we go through this, like until we get to the end of part 2, who are the villains that are coming after them. And the first part ends with a parody of the Living Monolith kicking all of them off a cliff and them all landing on Doug, which I do think is funny.
It's funny how much Kurt Busiek is like, for as much love as Doug gets now, like y'all don't understand. Dudes hated Doug. Dudes hated Doug, and we're happy for him to be dead. And I get it because I've read those comics, and he is effectively useless on the team. Even if I do think he is written well and is a charming character generally, and I'm happy when Doug appears, present company excluded. present company, present moment excluded. Actually,
I'm
take
not
that
Doug.
back.
I'm not Doug.
No, you're not Doug. I was trying to think.
I'm your present company.
Here's the thing. I actually take all of that back. I don't like when Doug shows up, except for specifically in Krakoa. Every other time I have disliked Doug when he comes back. Now that I say that out loud.
That is fair. I think most people might be drawn to part 2 because it actually has the cover of what
has a
the
great
number
cover,
4,
which is a parody of the Mutant Massacre poster.
Yeah, they're all laying on the beach. It's pretty great. And as they continue to lay there, there's some jokes on them dying and going to Australia. There's jokes about Doug dying. There's jokes about Excalibur forming their own team, until we do discover that the people who are trying to kill the X-Men are the rest of the Marvel Universe's characters who are mad that X-Men sell so well. And I think that's a pretty funny gag. You got Longshot just kind of standing there saying, help, as, the Avengers and the Fantastic Four all come to kind of destroy them. This is the kind of like winking stuff that What the is filled with. Which is like, haha, we know what our sales data is, and we're going to make fun of ourselves, and we're going to make fun of the fact that, like, we know that what we're doing is silly. And I appreciate that. I think it's fun. I think it's funny to see Kurt Busiek, at this point kind of teasing these books. I don't know. Now, I don't have a huge problem with this.
I just don't think it's very funny. What I do think is funny, however, is another couple pages that are in number 4, which is an argument to be the funniest X-Men related thing that has ever existed.
I believe you are speaking about from issue number 4. This is Lone Wolvie and Chris, which is
completely uncredited.
Completely uncredited. I don't know who made this.
It looks like Frank Miller and Chris Claremont, right?
It very well could be.
It looks. Because here's the thing: how many dudes out there were dying to do a Lone Wolf and Cub parody? See, Frank Miller's top of that list.
Now, if we were familiar with the Japanese that's underneath Lone Wolvie and Chris, we could probably figure this out, because I have a feeling that's who either wrote or drew this.
I mean, hold on. We have the technology these days.
Do we have can we employ Google Translate for this and figure this out?
I'm gonna ask the artificial intelligence ChatGPT who did this. It tells me nothing. It's all wrong, actually. What the heck? Oh no, it's useless. Honestly, I'm trying to find my Google Translate. I'm not using ChatGPT. That's Maps. I don't know, buddy.
We don't have to do this right now.
But you said it, and now I want to.
Well, while you're doing that, let me tell listeners who have not seen this before what it is. It is a quick 4-page parody of Lone Wolf and Cub. And instead of it being Lone Wolf and Cub, it is Wolverine. And in his little stroller that he is pushing in front of him is none other than a baby Chris Claremont, which means it's a baby, but it has Chris Claremont's head. And this comic strip is completely silent. Wolverine and little baby Chris come upon some ninjas who are going to do them harm.
But I tell you what, I'm just looking at the art on this, and I know it's a parody. And if this was not a very small Chris Claremont in there, like the first 2 pages of this are just like good comics. Like it's just super good ninja comics.
It's fantastic. But instead of Wolverine fighting them with his claws or his swords, little baby Chris begins to speak, and his word balloons get bigger and bigger and bigger. Empty word balloons get bigger and bigger until Wolverine slashes them with his claws, and a cacophony of Chris Claremont text comes pouring out of the word bubble and defeats the ninjas. God, this is great.
And then they just look at each other in the eyes like it's a Lone Wolf and Cub comic, and they acknowledge that they need each other, and then they walk off It's so good.
It
It's so
is.
good. Also, that Japanese text just also says Lone Wolverine Crest.
Oh, okay.
So
we
it
don't.
does. But like, I have nothing. I am going to text the one comic scholar that might know this and see, and I will report back if I learn anything else. It looks like, but I mean, the art, it looks like it's Frank Miller, right? It kind of looks like it's Frank Miller.
It does. I mean, especially if you look at the little. If it's not, I'd be surprised, because if you look at like the little hands, the little baby Chris Claremont hands, they really look like little Frank Miller.
Well, and it's also like who would go uncredited on this? Who would be in a weird spot and be like, no, I super want to do this. I personally find this so funny that I would do this uncredited. It kind of feels like it would be a Frank Miller in 1988 kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So
for
good.
this reason alone, if you're only going to pick up one of the two issues, if you do find number 4, I do think that it's worth picking up, because it does have the Mutant Beach Party cover. It does have part 2, and it has the lone wolf and cub parody in it with baby Chris. So, it's typical it's going to have some Fred Hembeck stuff in it.
Nothing against the hem. He's not that funny, but he's there forever. So like, I respect him.
Yeah.
You can buy Fred Hembeck sketch cards on eBay for like $20. He just cranks them out daily.
Oh, I'd love to own one of those. That'd be great.
Bud, it is not only possible, but well within your budget.
I think I could afford that. Yeah. Have we ever done on the show before?
The only other reason we would have is about Wolverina, and I don't think we'd have.
No, we have not talked about Wolverina yet.
We haven't talked about Milk and Cookies either.
No.
Why do you know so much about what? None of it's funny. I'm sorry. I almost cried. No, I did cry a little talking about Lone Wolverine Cub. So some of it is funny.
I was going to say, some of it actually is funny, but most of it isn't.
Most of it's bad. Some of it is like ascendant.
Yeah. You know what though? It brings me back to that moment in time. And, for folks that just, I don't know what a modern reader would make of this book. Like,
I think they would think it is cringe.
Yeah.
I think they would say that's
super
cringe. That's cringe. What is this? A thing for boomers?
Well, we have not actually, I just checked, we have not ranked any on this list before, so I don't know where to put this. This is not as good as Days of Future Fun.
It's not as good as Days of Future Fun. Here's the thing. I have to take my feelings about Lone Wolverine Lone Wolverine Chris out of here. It's not as good as that. In fact, it's mostly bad. It's mostly bad, but those 4 pages are so good that it's hard for me. Like, I'm going to look at number 80 on this list is that New Mutants Volume 3 issue that's a Siege tie-in. And like, this is better than that. It is better.
Is what the or New Mutants 11?
What the?
Oh yeah. All right.
I don't think I can put it. You know that issue where that kid is homophobic to North Star and then the kid blows up?
Yep.
It's not as good as that.
No, and that's at 764. So
764.
we're in between 800 and 765. I think this is not as fun as Dazzler at Carnegie Hall at 770. But I can make an argument that this is wait. Hold on.
You're looking at Cyclops Retribution and you're thinking about Cyclops Retribution, and you like Cyclops Retribution more than me.
Yeah, but I think this is more fun than that, to be honest. You had highlighted Strong Guy Reborn at 787.
This is better than Strong Guy Reborn.
Which I think this is better than. Reborn. Yeah, this is better than Life and Times of Lucas Bishop at 778.
Larry Stroman owes me $40, so yes. You can cut that if you want. I actually don't care if that's public. Larry Stroman does owe me $40.
Yeah, he does. Or a sketch.
For multiple sketches. And you know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, still shame on you. But I kind of should have known better. Which one is? This isn't as good as Uncanny X-Men 399, the Stacy X issue.
Well, then let's put it right below that, because I do think this is a touch better than the Marvel Holiday Special 1996. So this would be our new 777, What the, numbers 3 and 4. And we're going to go back even further in time to another time that the X-Men were cartoons. This is the original. Well, I guess not even the original. This is still
the
kind
original.
of like,
This is as original as Marvel jokey joke books in the Marvel Age get.
yeah. I mean, what's the one that came before this though with Forbush Man?
Not
Before
Brand Echh.
this.
Not Brand Echh is with Forbush Man.
Yeah, but Forbush Man does appear before.
We're not a Forbush Man like canon
Hold on.
podcast.
This is going to bother me if I can't figure this out.
I know it will.
Snafu. That's the
know
book
what
I'm
that is.
thinking of. Snafu.
Marvel kept trying to Silver Age Marvel. We're doing Not Brand Echh number 4, by the way.
Yes.
Silver Age Marvel kept trying to do funny things. And the thing is, I generally like Stan Lee more than your average comics fan. Like I've come around on Stan Lee because it's like, oh, Stan Lee, he's the only creator. And then you hear about Jack Kirby and then you hate Stan Lee for a little bit. Then you come back around on Stan Lee and you say people are all complicated. And Stan and Jack together created something that neither separately would have done. Stan more than Jack wouldn't have done it separately, but still.
That's totally fair.
I just think Jack Kirby could have done it without Stan Lee, but Stan Lee couldn't do it with Jack Kirby.
Oh, 100%. And this book is coming out in 1967. So this is kind of like early heady days. And we're doing the same thing, that they were doing later in What the. We're trying to kind of be Mad Magazine style comedy around what is going on in the book. So we've got a Daredevil parody here. I believe we've got a Submariner story, and the one that we're going to talk about is a Silver Age X-Men parody.
Hey, Adam, real quick, because I had never heard of Snafu, so I was multitasking and Googling it. Have you seen the cover for Snafu number 1?
I have. Yes, I have.
Now, that's buck wild.
I don't know that Snafu was a Marvel production. I don't know what Snafu was. It only lasted for a couple issues, but it did contain the first appearance of Forbush Man, who then comes back in Not Brand Echh, which we should point out. The title of Not Brand Echh, for anybody that doesn't know what that means, is Brand Echh was what Stan Lee used to jokingly call DC Comics.
Because at the time it was very common in advertising to say, this is so much better than Brand Echh, like as a placeholder. Yeah. And Stan Lee loved stupid, bad humor. Stan Lee wasn't funny. Adam, have you read a friend of the show and fellow X-Men podcaster Josie Reisman's Stan Lee biography?
No, I still haven't, which I feel bad about.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, and I'm sorry. Okay. I have. One of the most interesting rabbit holes that Josie spent some time on that I went down when I was looking at that book is about how Stan Lee really, really, really thought making funny captions on pictures was the peak of humor. Like very much like the, like caption contests is like caption this. Stan Lee thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
Sure.
Constantly. Yeah. And like that unlocked something in me about Stan Lee, and specifically Stan Lee's attempts at humor. Mm-hmm. In a fundamental way, because that's what this is. And that's what all the stupid parody names that continue, the cowardly parody names, that's all they're coming from. Like, that's what, just like, what's a placeholder thing that was this terrible Stan. Let me try that again. Nope, man, I can't do Stan today.
That was kind of like a Bugs Bunny there.
Yeah, I've been able to do Stan in the past a lot. Excelsior. I say, nope, I'm not channeling Stan right now.
That's okay.
Anyway, I'm going to do it in my regular human voice. Yeah. Stan Lee would be like, oh, what's a funny word I could use here? And then he'd pick Echh instead of X. And that was humor to him. That was
And
funny to Stanley.
Yeah, and this comic is very much coming out of the the style of your Mad magazines, your Crazy magazine, what's the other one?
Cracked, if you would.
Cracked. Thank you. I was about to say Cranked, and I was like, that's not
No,
right.
Crank is a movie with Jason Statham.
Yes.
Cracked was a website in the late 2000s, early 2010s that I read a significant amount of and probably fundamentally shaped my humor and everything.
Mhm.
And I will never read an article from there because I just like I don't need to know how bad it was. Like I can't
In
imagine it was
retrospect, yeah.
in retro. I remember there being plenty of funny stuff, and I'm sure that not everything has aged like milk, but I can imagine there's a few stinkers in there that are pretty obvious, and maybe more than a few. I don't know. Anyway, I say all that to say that's what Cracked was.
So what we're talking about here is one of the stories from this issue. The theme of this issue is what if the villains won? And what's I will say what's interesting about this is that this is written by Roy Thomas. The story is called If Magneto Should Clobber Us, and drawn by Tom Sutton. Roy Thomas and Tom Sutton here.
Roy Thomas, who in 1967 is writing X-Men?
That's what I'm saying. So you're actually having the writer of the book kind of, take the piss out of his own work, which is fun. He's also, obviously taking it out on Stan as well, because a lot of this stuff is stuff that Stan had done with the book. Loads of text. Like, this is just word balloon salad on every single page. Every character has to have a little snarky comment. And essentially, Magneto has been beaten enough times that he decides to dress up kind of like I don't even know how to describe this outfit. He's sort of a dandy in a straw hat. And
there's
as
some joke here that I don't understand anyway. That the cultural significance of this joke has been lost.
Yeah, but he's essentially disguising himself as a child to come be a child soldier at Professor Xavier's school for gifted guys and gals. That's what Professor Echh says here. And a lot of gags about Jean loving Cyclops. Iceman lives in the freezer.
None of these gags are very funny, though. That's the thing. They're all first idea.
Oh yeah. Like, we're on par with that Alf comic that we talked about way back.
It's that same. You have to understand, folks. When we do episodes about funny comics, the reason why they seem so unhinged and off track is because it's not really all that fun to talk about these things because it's bad jokes that aren't funny, and then we have to make it into an hour.
I think that kid me probably would have found some of this pun, or like, I don't know how to describe this humor.
Control F humor, find and replace type stuff. Is that the humor?
Yeah, I mean, for example, the Beast is being pictured more like a monkey throughout the entire thing. So at one point, they're playing the theme song to the monkeys, and he's saying, "That's my kind of music," while he runs around, saying "cha cha cha." That's the kind of thing that, like, I don't know. When I was in elementary school, I might have thought that was funny.
They're doing like a shotgun approach to comedy where they're just trying to put as many jokes on the page instead of the good ones. You could just do the good ones, Roy.
Yeah, I do think that there's different styles of humor, and this is one that maybe we just don't love, which is the, like, I love a good pun-based comedy. I do. I just think when it's this style of, throw everything at every panel and hope something sticks, it's not a joke every second. It's like maybe one or two of these land for the entire thing.
I think there are two jokes that land, one of which Roy Thomas intended to land, one of which Roy Thomas could not and would not and has no way in 1967 to know why it's funny. The
Can
first
I guess
joke.
the first one?
You can guess the first one.
Is it the Doom Patrol joke?
The fact that there's a Doom Patrol thing and Magneto pops in and he says, "Oops, I guess I got the wrong house." That's funny. That's hilarious, actually, and I think that's very good. And that's the only case where it wouldn't be cowardly to change their names, because it's like, well, legally, there's gonna be some questions around. That's so funny. It's so funny to me that he accidentally runs into Doom Patrol. That's hilarious. Do you want to guess what the second one? The second one is that Magneto does get beaten at the end by a barrage of word balloons. And I think that's an incredibly funny X-Men based joke for the exact same reasons why I think Lone Wolverine Chris is funny. But again, Roy Thomas can't know. That's funny for a different reason than it was supposed to be. It's funny because it's like Cassandra being cursed with the gift of foresight.
I do think, though, that that's a funny gag to tease Stan Lee, because a lot of these word bubbles that he is defeated with when they open the closet that he says he's not supposed to open are Stan Lee-isms, and just Magneto is crowded out until he can't do it at all.
But then Magneto goes and crosses a picket line and says, "Forget the union. I'll just do this entire auto factory by myself." And that feels weird.
It's weird, right?
I understand that 1967 Magneto probably wasn't pro-union.
Still, it's an odd way to end the book.
It's a weird joke.
Yeah.
To be like, yeah, those old stodgy union guys.
I do like at the beginning when Magneto
House Roy over here. Honestly, I expect from House Roy. That's a Jack Kirby joke for those who want to be mean to Roy.
Riding the subway with all the rest of the supervillains that have to commute in and out of the city to fight superheroes. That's a decent.
That's the thing, because that gag is not hitting you over the head with "this is a joke." That is again, my wife would say that I like things that aren't funny. That's a thinker right there, and I prefer a thinker. I prefer sitting there like, clever, Roy. Clever.
I am very curious, before we rank this, to see the results of the recently announced Chip Zdarsky DC Mad Magazine issue one-shot that features an insane creative lineup. And I'm really curious how they're going to approach the humor in that.
I bet it's going to be good because Chip Zdarsky is funny.
It has some really, really talented people working on it. So
here's the thing. Here's the difference. DC right now,
they're cooking.
They're like, whatever, man. I am not a DC guy, and I get that, like, the absolute lines do not need anyone like singing their praises. But I had a friend the other week who's like, "I'm bummed about comics." I was like, "Yeah, are you reading the good ones though? Are you reading the comic where Batman kicks a baby? Are you reading the comic where Batman breaks Nazis' arms?
Yeah.
Are you reading that one?
Yeah.
Because that one's good." And then there's a whole other like line of books that are pretty good with it. Most of them are really good. I don't care for the Superman one. I haven't read Flash or Green Lantern yet because I'm a trade boy at this point.
Yeah.
Call me rough trades over here because I'm
not calling you that.
Please don't call me that. Please don't call me that.
Well, this is definitely the worst of the three that we've talked about this week. I
don't
think anyone really needs to seek this out unless you are a completist.
If you're a freak.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is there's such a high density of freaks that listen to this podcast.
There are. I mean, if you want to read it, I'm not telling you not to. It's just, it's not really worth your time.
No, but like, Adam, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You and me at a convention. It's Sunday. We're flipping through long boxes. We see this in the dollar bin. We're not putting it back.
Dollar bin, sure.
Yeah.
Am I going to pay $20 for a nice copy of it? No.
I'd go as high as $3.
Okay, $3.
That's the thing, because $3 is $1. It's not $5 yet.
I see we're doing the at 1062. We do have Alf 44, Alf's Excellent Adventure, which is very similar in like jokiness to this.
This is better than Alf's Excellent Adventure. It is not as good as Venom Tooth and Claw. It goes right above it Because Venom Tooth and Claw has Dirt Nap.
Okay, so this is going to be our new 1062, not Brand Echh, number 4. And those sure were some times that the X-Men were cartoons. And
just don't do jokes anymore, guys. Like, you're bad at it. Stick to what you're good at.
Or find funny people.
Honestly, here's the thing. The Chip Zdarsky X-Men parody would be funny.
Yes.
It would be, because Chip Zdarsky is really good at comedy and fine at other stuff, but really good at comedy. I know Chip Zdarsky doesn't want to hear that from me, but I'm a critic. I'm going to criticize my man.
Yeah.
My dude, my guy. I think you're really funny. This is a compliment sandwich. I think I like the funny, and I'd like to see more of the funny. That's all. That's my chip chat. For the
That's
week.
your heart. That's your, your hot take for the week.
My heart's desire is funny Chip Zdarsky. And it's just like, I think his Daredevil run was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think his, what I read of his Captain America, it's good. It's just like, I think funny Chip Zdarsky is transcendent. I think serious Chip Zdarsky's pretty good.
Okay.
It's fine. Not mad about it.
We don't need a compliment sandwich to compliment our Patreon.
Adam, thank you. If you want to be like them and get egged on by me, mostly because Adam's so polite, you can go over to patreon.com/battle-of-the-atom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, toss a couple coins into our coffers at the $5 a month level. We will build an episode around one of your suggestions, and hopefully it's a comic that isn't trying to be funny and failing.
Nice. Folks.
That's for your sake, not ours.
Yeah.
Should be clear.
Yeah. So
what's up, Adam? What do you got going on?
If folks missed it this past week, I wrote a nice piece for Comics XF about Beast going villain. I'm a huge fan of this concept, and I'm enjoying the current execution from Mr. McKay. So check that out. That's over at Comics XF. And if you want to follow on social, Adam Reck on Blue Sky and Instagram. Zach, what are we talking about next week?
Talking about the Morlocks. Talking about Caliban. You know him. He was in like 3 different X-Men movies.
Crazy.
So weird. Until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!